So the room is filling up with people. I think we can get started. So hello, everyone. I'm Nicole Kessler, Senior Project Manager at Abstract Technology, a leading European service partner and co-organizer of the monthly Open edX meetups. And together with Eden Hutmacher and Esteban Echeverry, I'm happy to see so many faces, and I warmly welcome all of you to our March meetup. So let's start with the first presentation by a well-known and very active community member, Marco Morales, who will discuss the evolution of the Open edX mobile application. Marco will be giving us an update on the progress made since the last Open edX conference, showcasing latest improvements and also the offline learning capabilities and the enhanced course navigation and much more. So, Marco, feel free to start.
Sounds great. Thanks for the introduction, Nicole. Hi, everyone. We're here as a group to talk through Open edX Mobile now and next. Yep, and the conversation will actually be three of us from the community, calling out different parts of what the update has been since our conversation at Open edX 2024. And so previously at Stellenbosch University, we covered the key shift away to a entirely new, brand new code bases for the mobile applications. 2023, covered the updates from 2024, did a demo. This is recorded and online, but today's conversation is going to be an update to that. So we're going to look at what changed in 2024 for the applications, what our plans are so far, and what's changing in 2025. And in particular, kind of our interest and focus on the roadmap themes and getting community collaboration and input on what we're working on. So we keep going. And some of the key app updates that we want to cover from 2024. A number of these are things that were developed. We're only going to actually look at the three that are bolded here. So I'm actually, if you can go back one slide, Eddie. If there are any of these other areas that you're interested in, we can talk about them in the Q&A portion as well, but we're going to cover app navigation overhaul, fully offline courses, and plugin architecture. Great. So this is what before the development in 2024, the mobile application screens looked like. They were very much like the mobile application. At the time, it was a simple course listing of what you're doing, as well as on the outline, a listing of things. The profile was and account settings were combined. If you take a look at the new screens now, we've made substantial changes to account settings, adding and putting spaces for the application to grow. We've really leaned the learn and dashboard level experience around getting you information about your primary course enrollments, and we're increasingly moving the course level to be multidimensional, including a lot more facets of the course, improved visual progress, etc. So we'll look at that today as a general thing. We can keep going to the next slide. The other big area we want to talk about that we think people will be interested in is the mobile application has had video download for a really long time from its genesis in 2015. But the ability to download a course and pull down the text in a course and the problems in a course is a really big shift. And so there's a lot of improvements and changes to that workflow that we've been working on. And that will fully be available in Teak, but is currently available in a sort of beta format right now in the application. And what does this mean? So this means that you get improved download controls, the ability to review and download everything in your course, manage your largest downloads. For any of you who have done offline viewing on Netflix, sort of echoes that control level. And then these three screens here, you can see I'm looking at a multiple choice problem, a single select problem about an abacus. I'm offline, but I've downloaded the problem, so I can actually submit the problem, and my answer will be saved and ready to sync. And then once I'm back online in the third image, that result gets shared back to the platform. So quick overview of fully offline courses and navigation changes, and then I'll hand it over to Vladimir, I believe, next, and he'll talk us through plugin architecture and do an intro.
Okay. Yep. Thank you, Eddie. Could I share my screen, please? Or do you want to go through this? Okay. So, yep. Again, hello everyone. My name is Vladimir Chikrta. I'm a mobile team lead at Raccoon Gang, and let's discuss plugin architecture. So the year 2024 has been highly productive for the OpenEdX mobile application with numerous new features, integrations, and improvements added. With the development of the project, a need arose to add new functionality to the mobile application to meet specific requirements of different organizations. Previously, each such extension required changes directly to the base code of the application. This made upgrades difficult, the core application was growing, and updating to the new versions of OpenEdX was becoming challenging. We realized that the flexibility of our modular architecture was no longer sufficient, and we needed to introduce something new to address these challenges. This led us to what we now call the mobile plugin architecture. The main goals we wanted to achieve: first of all, the core app should be lightweight and contain only the core learning experience, and additional functionality should be integrated as a plugin. Second, plugins should be easy to use and develop. We understand the needs of OpenEdX platforms are diverse. Some need a specific analytics service, others need a calendar or e-commerce integration. The plugin system should allow features to be added or removed with minimal effort. And third, low maintenance cost. Eliminate the need to modify the core app when adding new features. Obviously, the fewer changes to the base application, the easier it is to maintain and update. Architecture and key components. We introduced three main entities in the system: plugin, plugin manager, and foundation. Plugin is a standalone entity that contains new features and dependencies. Plugin manager is a part of the core application, and it's responsible for integrating and delivering plugins to the appropriate location within the app. And foundation serves as the parent and fundamental dependency for all plugins. It provides a set of tools and abstractions necessary for building new functionality. Also, that is important, despite the difference between the platforms, iOS and Android app versions implement similar plugin mechanisms. If you're interested in deeper technical details, I highly recommend reading the original document describing the idea behind the OpenEdX mobile plugin architecture and the implementation options considered. You can find the document by scanning this QR code or following this link. Let's give the audience a few seconds. All right. And the plugin architecture for the OpenEdX mobile application combined the need for customization with the stability and simplicity of the core system. As a result, the core application is compact and maintainable, extending functionality is fast, and upgrading to the new versions of OpenEdX is much smoother process. Also, I'd like to add that the new plugin system is still developing and evolving, so your feedback can help a lot in the development of OpenEdX mobile. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Eddie. I'm a product and designer at Schema with Marco. I'm going to talk through what we're working on currently for the year up ahead. So these are the topics that we want to address this year. We're going to talk about kind of 4 areas that we've been doing work on. And all of this is work that is in progress, so any thoughts, suggestions, or feedback is definitely welcome. So for the first one, it's the notifications inbox. So for this project, we wanted to have a centralized location for all notifications. We thought, well, these projects in general, The goal overall is to allow learners to kind of grasp where they are and what they need to do. So this is part of that. So we started by categorizing all notifications into 7 different categories that you see up top. And then within these categories, we define different levels of notifications. So in the example of discussions for your posts, level 1 would be comments or updates on a single post that you made. Level 2 would be a little bit wider than that. It would be comments on 2 posts or updates or reactions. And then level 3 is the broadest. It would be updates to multiple posts across multiple courses. And the purpose of defining these levels is to kind of help define the interactions that happen when you look at and click into each type of notification. So what this looks like in the app right now, we're planning on putting the notifications onto the Learn homepage. So when you go into your notifications inbox, you'll see the notifications by category. And if there are multiple notifications, they'll be nested as you see here on the 3rd screenshot. And then, of course, there's settings for how you want to see the notifications. Going through these projects pretty quickly today in the interest of time, but if you want to look in more detail, again, you could go to this link here to look at the Figma file. And I'll post all these links in the chat once we move on. The next is 2 projects really, but I'm going to share them together because they're so interrelated. They're the visual course progress. The goal of that one is to give multiple progress visuals for learners so that they could understand where they are in different aspects or facets of the course, and pick up where they left off. And the content view, which is a new tab that we're introducing to replace the videos tab. And again, the goal of these 2 projects is to kind of move towards maybe a little bit more personal learning experience or cater towards learners' different learning objectives. So currently, this is what the screens look like. We have the course home, which is the outline of the course broken into sections, and then the videos tab, which again is videos broken into sections. They're both very linear, follow traditional course format. So for the course home, by moving the course outline off of the course homepage and into a new content tab, we free up the course home to be more of a learning hub. And so what that looks like in these updated designs that we're proposing, on the course homepage, we're proposing having a carousel of cards to allow learners to view different aspects of the course. So each card would have a progress visual, a preview of what's coming up next, and a call to action. So right now it's broken up into course completion, which is kind of following the traditional course format by section. There's videos, so it allows learners that are interested in viewing videos on mobile, or perhaps their learning objective is just to consume the videos in a course, allows them to click into that. And then similarly for assignments and grades. And so what the content page will look like now, so this is the original tab, the video tab, and we're replacing that with a content tab that has 3 main sections. So the first is the all content that we've already looked at. It's the course outline with a little bit of updated visual language here to show the progress through the section for each section. Next would be the video content page. So this is providing a little bit more visual way of going through the videos within a course by section. So each section, if it has multiple videos, would show the videos in a carousel with a thumb preview. And playing the videos from this view or from the course outline, the unit pages, will bring you to a video play mode. This mode is the current video X block, but on top on the navigation level, there's another carousel for all the videos in the course. So if you're interested in just consuming video content, you could scroll through and keep swiping through the videos or hitting next. And then finally, there's the assignment content tab that shows the assignments broken up by type. And if you want to learn more, you could click into the or visit the link here. That's the Figma file. I'm going to move a little bit quicker in the interest of time. So the next project is the app level dates and downloads. The goal is to put app level dates and downloads onto a hub where you could kind of grasp downloads and dates for all of your courses together. And again, you can see the detailed design work here. I'll post all the links in the chat afterwards. And then finally, we've been working on a method of gathering insights from the community quarterly. So it's a process that we're still developing and trying to propose. But the goal of this is really to gather insights from everyone in the Open edX community that they may have from clients or from working on mobile. And the types of insights we're really interested in is what's driving adoption of the mobile app, what's causing people or clients to not want to use the mobile app, and what kind of issues they have with the current mobile app, and gathering that insight to drive the mobile roadmap that will hopefully evaluate each quarter to make sure that it's that we're on track based on end user needs. So that survey is here. I'll post this in the chat. If everyone could take a moment after the meetup to give us your thoughts, that would be wonderful to kick off this process. So I'll hand it back to Marco. We'll talk about the roadmaps and themes.
Awesome. Thanks, Eddie. Yeah, so next up, want to cover the roadmaps and themes. These are unchanged from when we presented the mobile plans at Stellenbosch. So nothing here. That doesn't mean that they can't change in the future, but we still have these as kind of the guiding directions. And I'm going to briefly show an update for each of these, even though not all of these have gotten equal attention in the past year and a half. So we'll talk through global access to lightning fast full courses, which is a top level goal. Working towards a personal learning coach in the mobile applications, learning in the moment and supporting learning in the moment, ecosystem adoption and mobile usage, and then open community processes. So yeah, first up, primary focus is to enable high quality learning in lower bandwidth and limited online access environments, expanding reach through lightning fast courses. So what does that mean and what have we been doing on that front? So if we look at what this means, a couple upcoming efforts, things that we've talked about today and referenced today that we think align with this. Like navigation and improvement into learning sequences to better convey progress while you're learning and in the flow of learning. You can see the video play mode, which we showed today as part of the course content view project, is connected to this sort of conveying progress, even when you're in content consumption mode, similar to sequence navigation. Video audio playback tools have been a common area of request in terms of being able to listen to a course in podcast mode, for example, or more on-the-go tools for learning. Providing visibility in Studio for course educators about mobile content stats and preview, what percentage of your course is being accessed, is being downloaded, etc. And then some application level tools for managing downloads across all your course enrollments, managing dates, etc. These are all things also that we think help with course management. The next area here is around, as a theme, having the mobile experience emulate a supportive coach and mentor who knows your learning goals and targets and helps you balance and schedule your learning. So this is a lot all in one. We're definitely taking steps toward this, but it's a long journey for this one, I would say. But you can see the evidence of some of this theme in a lot of the projects we've been talking about today as well. The inbox is something that allows us to respond and communicate with learners. We're not yet at a point where we're having conversations with learners, but what you saw today about the update to the course home so that it moves the course homepage away from being a listing of content and more showing you messages that are targeted to your current progress in a course. That's actually something we hope to build on in the future so that it can be based on your goals. Right now, we're kind of implying and sort of insinuating that you might have different learning goals through the visual format of that carousel, but there's more we can do there for sure. Providing richer detail into your progress and what you've done actually forms a useful basis for kind of motivating messages and other things beyond just congrats, you completed the section. We can actually be more specific about what your next step might be based on grades and goals. And so the other big thing to call out here is I think as a community, we're looking into and doing research into competency-based education and understanding more about what it would mean to support that area of emphasis. And so there's, I think, a lot of alignment here on the personal learning coach side that we should unpack further. Next up, meeting learners in the moment. This is around identifying kind of where learners are and where they want to learn, what screens they can use to learn, matching people with the right courses that fit their interests, and then the connection of learning with others, we believe is sort of a fit here as well, because it helps sort of continue the motivation journey and make you feel like you're not learning by yourself. This theme, if we look at it, we've not done too much. We've just certainly made improvements to tablet and landscape views so that you can orient your phone whatever direction you want, improve the iPad tablet case. But there's a lot of these other areas that are kind of, there's draft proposals for how we might move forward, but I think need more attention and review of these. But this is definitely a theme that we haven't progressed as far since we spoke with everyone at Stellenbosch. So we'll move on to the next theme here, which is ecosystem adoption and mobile usage. So this is a big thing for us. We want to really expand mobile application adoption across the community. And one of the sort of ways to do that is certainly by having more OpenNX instances have mobile app builds, making it easier to spin up your own version of the mobile applications. What Vladimir was sharing earlier around the plugins also, we hope will further allow people to make lower cost customizations to their experience as needed on mobile, something that you can do on the web through plugins and but Django hooks and a bunch of things. There are certainly proposals and features that we think could help even further in this regard. There's a member of the community that's looking into multi-tenancy, which we have a proposal for a learning sites feature. So just like the Canvas mobile app or the Moodle mobile app, where you load one application and you specify your learning site, you can maintain one mobile app build for multiple learning sites. And then after someone specifies their learning site, you can set their colors and theme and brand, etc., to match that tenant or that instance. So there's things like that we hope will spur adoption. And then similarly, there's other community members that are working on getting features like e-commerce for the mobile applications built as a plugin. I think there was a question here about the improvements being made for the mobile app and whether they're fully open source and available. I think because we don't have that many plugins that have been built so far, everything so far, to my knowledge, is in the public, fully open source space. But certainly you can imagine some plugins being proprietary. But yeah, then the final thing to call out here is quarterly community engagements is another key important area for us. We go to the next slide. Since we last spoke, I think there's more community and providers that have joined this process, either through code contribution or through regular engagement in all of our mobile meetings. We have regular mobile check-ins around the product, the roadmap, the design. The team meets pretty frequently as a subgroup. So if you're interested in joining, please do. But it's not just about joining these regular meetings. If there's interest in doing that level of contribution, that's great. But we really would just love to start with getting the survey that Eddie shared earlier, getting contributions to that to get a sense from people, especially people who are client facing, about what the gaps are for mobile learning, what might spur additional usage of the application, etc. So I think that's it. If we go to the next slide, we have some time for Q&A.
Yeah, thank you, Marco and team for the great presentation. Really impressive and really nice to see all the updates and to see this growing. We just had one question in the chat from Stefania, but you already answered it. So if there is there is a question. Is there any additional information available about learning in the moment? Are there any boards or written documents on this topic?
Good question. If you can go back a couple slides to the learning in the moment slide, just as a visual reference for what this is. So we do have product proposals on Confluence that we can share in the chat in a moment for a number of these areas. And some of these kind of are chained together. So and for other items where we don't have details, they do exist on the mobile roadmap. So the mobile roadmap is GitHub project. So you can see kind of the board of all the different edX the team is working on. But there is a draft proposal for improved mobile discovery. And that project is sort of gated behind a lot of the platform pages for course enrollment pages, course about pages are not yet migrated to using React and micro frontend. So I think that is a precursor project to improved mobile discovery and improved authoring of enrollment pages on the platform, etc. So that project, I'm not sure if the associated, I forget the status of the project for the replatforming and micro frontendization of those enrollment pages, but it's connected to that one. And then activity view and the idea of having a service to track learner profiles, streaks, milestones, sort of more rich detail that we could add to the learner profile. There's a proposal for that as well. Learn with others is not something we've turned into a proposal. That's just a roadmap item, but we think it's downstream of the activity view. Because if you can learn with others and find other people you know through your contacts or some other mechanism to learn with, if you can't see what they're doing or give them a thumbs up or just do something, there's really not much of a reason to connect with anyone else. Bad time to get hiccups. And so activity view, there's a proposal for. And for this discovery stream and feed mode, we feel that's a downstream improvement after we've done the mobile discovery. It's sort of an alternate way to explore content that maybe is more similar to what you might experience on TikTok or Instagram Reels, where you're kind of like consuming content and seeing like, oh, that's a course I want to enroll in. Yeah, expanded screen support, there's really not much progress that we've made there either. That's the roadmap item. So that's a summary of where these are. So at least two proposals that we can share with the community.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Marco. We have time for one further question from the audience, which is, as you mentioned in the slide, how can we improve the wider use of the community?
Yeah, the first thing for sure is the survey that Eddie sent out. If people are able to take a look at this, share it with other team members in your organizations that you think may have client input on either the potential adoption for mobile applications, any insight you have onto what might be holding people back, or maybe it's something about your organization and lack of capacity for mobile developers, or lack of documentation, or a sense of a high cost, or whatever the case may be that's limiting and holding back either end user experience in the mobile application. The way we're thinking about this is, yes, we'd love more providers to be a part of our regular conversations and meetings and actively contributing either in the definition of the mobile applications or in the development of the actual code. That'd be great, but there's still a lot of value in contributing your insights and contributing on a quarterly basis what you've learned about people's use of mobile experiences, because that helps us that are active in the definition of the roadmap and what the mobile apps could be, get additional context directly from customers through your input. So this is definitely the starting point.
This is also
Great.
kind of hopefully an iterative process to improve the survey and improve this outreach. So if you have feedback on that level as well on the survey, or how we could discuss more with more people in the community, we're open to that as well. Thank you.
Okay, Perfect. Thanks. Thanks, you three. If the audience want to connect with the team, with Marco and his team, they will be available on Carpet E in the unstructured networking. After the second presentation, they will be available on the outside floor on Carpet E. If you have further question or want to network with them. So we're now moving into a very exciting segment of this meetup, focusing on the future of digital education. I am especially proud to introduce our next speaker, Thomas Staubitz from the German University of Digital Science. Thomas will showcase their innovative, fully digital programs, which will be launched soon, and how they are expanding global access to education via their open edX platform. As many of you know, at Abstract Technology, we've had the pleasure of partnering closely with the German UDS on their open edX platform setup and the further development. And me as a project manager, I was deep in collaboration, and I'm incredibly excited to see the impact of their work. So without any further add-on, please join me in welcoming Thomas Staubitz to share his insights on the transformative work being done at the German UDS. So Thomas, the virtual stage is yours.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. I can see the slides work as well. So thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here. So as Nicole already mentioned, I will be talking about the German University of Digital Science. We're a really new university on the German university scene. So we just have received the state recognition about a week ago, but we are offering courses since quite a while. But let me start from the beginning. Okay, but I can't click forward when I have uh, so I will be flying blind now because I have to see my slides to click them forward, and I can't see the Gathertown app. So please just call out when something is going wrong, and or you don't hear me anymore and anything like that. So basically, before I start talking about the German UDS, I want to take a step back and have a look at our background, because we, or at least part of the team of the German UDS, we have been running our own MOOC platform and developing our own MOOC platform a couple of years ago. So basically from 2012 to 2023, that is about the time that I was working there. So it still exists. It's not that it doesn't exist anymore. But at the end of 2023, I left that team. So this is about the dates here. So we built at the Hasse-Plattner Institute in Potsdam, we built a MOOC platform, and we operated that, and not only for ourselves, but we had a couple of partners. So we ran the platform as a software as a service project, and we ran that for, as you see, several other partners as well. And in total, on all of those platforms, we had about 15 million enrollments. So we have sort of a bit of a background in the development of MOOC platforms and in the operation of MOOC platforms ourselves. Particularly maybe if we have a look at the OpenWHO platform, where you can see that basically this curve covers the start of the COVID epidemic, which sort of skyrocketed the number of enrollments that we had on that platform. So within just 2 months, basically we increased the number of enrollments of that platform from 30,000 to 4 million. And so that and that during the time of a lockdown. So we know how to scale and do things like that. So we also have been part in a couple of European projects and so on, and also a member of the MOOC Hub and the European MOOC Consortium. So when I moved over to the German UDS, basically I also took over the responsibility to bring the German UDS as well to these organizations such as the MOOC Hub or the European MOOC Consortium. So that just as a little bit of background where we come from. And so you might ask, if you had this MOOC platform on your own, why did you switch to OpenEdX? And that would be the full story would be a completely separate talk, but just a little bit of the development here. So basically, when we ran OpenEdX, we actually open sourced the code itself also in 2020. So we actually could have taken everything with us, and that was a consideration that we had when we moved to build this new university. So we also had a dev team, of course. We had a content team, we had management in the course, and then in the time frame of 2023 to 2024, we did this move over to this new organization, to German University of Digital Science. So in that context, basically, the dev team sort of didn't come over there. So they stayed at the OpenHBR. By now, they basically don't exist anymore, but that's also a different story. So when we moved over to the German UDS, basically, core team was gone. So we didn't have a development team anymore. There was no community, and that was basically the big big lack of this open sourcing the code. So the community building never was a priority of that open sourcing. It basically just was a technical thing, bringing the code on GitHub and making it publicly available. But we never managed to build this community, and that basically turned out to be very bad. And in that step, when we moved over, and there were no partners such as I know there's many others, but I'll just mention the one that we're going with, such as Abstract, that you actually can work with. And I mean, the alternative would have been that we would build up a completely new development team with this at that point very small startup, which basically never was an option at that point, which might be an option in the future. But currently we are super happy that we can work with Abstract, and that we have someone who takes this burden of us to develop the basics of such a platform. So as I mentioned in the beginning, that was one half of the project of the German university. Basically, as one of the founders, Christoph Meinl, he's used to be the CEO of the Hasselblad Institute for about 20 years, and he had this idea of creating a completely online-only university. The other half is the other founder, Mike Friedrichsen. He has had rather an idea of a hybrid university, and this is how we got to that beautiful building in which we are currently residing. So basically, when they brought their two ideas together and merged the ideas, I wouldn't say it was a clash of culture, it's a merge study program. So you can do a full study online. So the whole thing is funded by a foundation, the German University of Digital Science Foundation, and we are a non-profit organization. Of course, we have to cover our costs, so basically we cannot offer the study programs for free, but these programs have to be paid for by the students. And as I already mentioned, since last week, we finally have the state recognition, which makes us pretty happy, because that was a terrible long process to get there. So let me show you a little bit about the our learning ecosystem. So the whole technology behind that. So we have, of course, a website. We have a campus management system that is a software as a service that we're using. So it's a company called Full Fabric with whom we're collaborating here. We have a payment system behind that. We have a Microsoft 365 as a central ID provider, and also office tools for the students, for the staff, for everybody. And then, of course, as one of the main pillars of the whole thing, we have the German UDS LMS, or the German UDS Academy. So these are basically two microsites on OpenEdX basis, which are operated and customized for us by Abstract. And then we have several other tools in the background. We're hosting the videos on Vimeo. We have a help desk system attached. We are using Podigy to host podcasts. We have a couple of LTI tools that we already have or plan in adding to the courses, and then several other tools that we will offer as additional services or additional benefits for the students to work with. So I already mentioned we have those two different microsites, the German UDS University and the German UDS Academy. And with those two different microsites, we actually are targeting towards different groups. So we have the students, regular full-time or part-time students on the one side, and lifelong learners on the other side. The formats are also pretty different. So on the one side, we have formal formats, study programs, basically. On the other side, we have more informal and semi-formal formats, MOOCs, open courses, whatever you want to call that. Enrollment process also is very different. So for the study programs, you have to do this formal application process where you have to prove, for example, that you have a bachelor's degree if you want to do a master's study, stuff like that. On the other side, simplest registration possible. You just need to log in, as you know that from basically other MOOC platforms as well. And as I said, the offer also differs. So on the one hand, it's study programs. In our case, at the moment, we will be offering master and MBA programs. And on the other hand, it's plain courses, open courses. The missing link between the two sort of, so to say, is our micro degrees. So they are open in a way that you don't have to apply for them. So you don't need to prove that you have a bachelor's. Everybody can participate in them, but they're not free. So they come with a tuition fee. They are stackable. So in the end, if you do a couple of micro degrees, you can get them accredited towards your master's or MBA programs. I think a couple of years ago, Anand Agarwal called that something like Lego towers instead of ivory towers, that concept. And they are all co-educated in a way. And I will come to that in a second, what I mean with that. And then in the future, we will be offering bachelor's degrees and also doctorates as soon as we are allowed to do that by the state, by the government. And on the open side, we also plan to offer even smaller units than the micro degrees, micro credentials, basically. So that's about that. So let me come to our co-education concept. And basically, we have on the one hand the lifelong learners learning on those micro degrees or booking the micro degrees. They come directly to the platform. Basically, on the other hand, the students which have to go through this application process on Full Fabric, they will then enroll either and be admitted either for an MBA or a master's program, depending on what they want to do. But in the end, they will be all learning together, not only in the same module, but really in the same class. So basically, they will be, virtually sitting together in the same classroom and learning together on those modules. The micro degrees that we offer, they have an equivalent to 5 ECTS, that's the European credit point system, and they are compatible with the common micro credential framework of the European MOOC Consortium. And for the MBA students, they only receive 4 ECTS, but for that they also have a sort of reduced workload in those courses. That has to do with the organization of the study programs. I won't go into the details about that. And the master students, again, they will receive 5 ECTS. So, but in general, they are working together, they are learning together in those programs, and that, in my opinion, is one of the big advantages that we have here, because we have those really different backgrounds of learners coming together into in the same courses and allowing this exchange of ideas and experiences. So the programs we are offering, we're starting with 2 MBA programs, digital technologies and digital transformation, and they offer or require, or however you want to call that, 60 ECTS. So basically 60 ECTS MBA program, a 1-year program. We do not work with semesters, we work with quarters. So each of the modules basically has a length of 3 months. And as you can see, there are many overlaps in these courses, which allows us also to start in the different programs with smaller numbers of students at the moment, which is quite helpful now because we didn't have a really long time to do advertisement now for the first intake of students, as we just received the state approval a couple of days ago. So, and these courses that you can see here, they are sort of, I would say, MOOC-ish. So they are not like just traditional MOOCs. They are based on MOOCs, but they have some additional components in there, such as project work or similar things. And then we have a couple of additional larger parts or components, which basically add a more hands-on and more project learning approach to those courses, which are more based on the MOOC format. The same applies for the master studies. So we're starting with 4 study programs: digital leadership, advanced digital reality, applied AI, and cybersecurity. These are 2 years programs, so they offer 120 ECTS. And during that time, you can see, particularly in this one, it differs for the other 3, but in this one, there's also a couple of overlaps with the MBA programs, for example. And this is what I meant with this co-education thing that we want to have. So it's not only the same content that they see here, but they're really sitting together in the same class. And again, we have these group challenges, master's challenges, and the master thesis, of course, in those things to add on these more to the modules that you can see here. So in terms of teaching formats, a differentiation that you often hear is basically synchronous formats versus asynchronous formats. So group calls, chats, webinars, whatever. We are using Zoom and Teams to do to offer such things embedded into the course on the edX platform. And on the asynchronous side, of course, we have the pre-recorded videos which are hosted on Vimeo and in OpenEdX and discussions forum of OpenEdX, but also tools like email, whatever we are using here. But actually, we do not like this differentiation between synchronous and asynchronous, and we rather like to follow the ICAP model that Key and Wiley promoted in a couple of years ago. And so we think so we have these interactive parts with the group calls, with the chats, where you really are interacting with other people. And of course, the discussion forum, even if they are asynchronous, they are also interactive parts. And on the really passive end, we have things like webinars or pre-recorded videos. And in my experience, webinars often are even more passive than the pre-recorded videos, because at the videos, at least you have the discussion forum at the side where you can interact with the others, while on those chats in webinars, not always, but often there's not much interaction going on. And then we have on the active and constructive side, lots of tools that we want to use. This is just a random selection of logos that I put here, of tools that we are using or not using, that we had in consideration once, that we might use in the future. And there are many others which are missing, which we are currently already working with, and so on. So in terms of customization and development, this is where our big thanks go to Abstract. We have those 2 microsites. So the UI, Abstract did a lot of customization for us there. So we have on the one hand the LMS, on the other hand the academy with the open courses, and you see we already have quite a selection of courses there. Couple of upcoming courses and also a couple of modules that are already running, and these screenshots are a couple of days old. So if you go to the to our edX instance now, there's a couple of more listed there already. So the courses are already listed on Class Central. That's great. We have the course listing on MOOCUP. There is a new API that was implemented for us by Abstract here. The API itself was something that we developed previously at the OpenHPI project in cooperation with a couple of other partners. So there's also a couple of aggregators that are actually using that, particularly in Germany and in Europe. And this schema also is open source and can be found on GitHub. There is an article by Abstract on LinkedIn, and if you're interested in that, you basically can check that out. You will find more information on that, or Nicole and Stefania also will be very happy to give you more information on that, I guess. So we did a couple of other things. So we are currently working on the SSO integration with Full Fabric and also the Microsoft stuff. We have an integration with Small, a proctoring system, Vimeo, Turnitin, LTI integration. We hope that we will be able to have Europass certificates in the future, and there is more. So as I said, Abstract did that for us, and yeah. So finally, before I come to the end, and I hope I didn't overstretch my time already a lot, we have done sort of a joint research with Abstract and also with Axum, with Eden. And basically the whole thing was located in the area of social learning, project-based learning. I had offered a course on Python and Django programming on our platform. That was one of those micro degrees that we offered back in October already, more or less to test the platform and to bring our first courses already towards the public. And in that project, that the status of that research still is, well, actually is not really in progress anymore. We have just finished the paper and submitted it to a conference and hope it will be it will be accepted. So some of the results that we had in there is basically the students. What we did is we asked the students to work on the Open edX platform to do some maintenance tasks there. So the task itself that they were supposed to work on was rather simple, I would say. They had a lot of material and documentation, and that is really great what you already have there. But still, for those students, the entry barriers were quite high. So before they actually got to the coding, they had to set up this the local instance of the platform. That is where they basically had huge issues to get that running, and particularly in that short time frame that they had for that project. It was just 4 weeks. And the skill set that they required to do that setup that actually didn't really match the course learning objectives, because that was Python programming. The other one was more like DevOps part stuff. And so even later on, when they finally managed to get it running, they had a very steep learning curve. And so the feedback that we received from them is that their impression was that the learning material sort of is created by experts for experts, and it was very hard for them, even for like rather experienced beginners. So they weren't just starting from scratch in programming, but it was really hard for them to get started. And with that, I'm basically done, and I just brought you a couple of impressions from our building. So that was really in January 2024, a year ago, when I started here. Everything full of boxes, no real furniture there, improvised studio. We have now a much bigger studio to work with, and that is a couple of days later when we already had our furniture in place. And this is just an impression of the VR model that we are also building of the place here, where we also are experimenting with teaching in such 3D worlds. So thanks a lot for your patience with me, and if you have any questions, please let me know.
Great. Thank you so much, Thomas. Thanks for the great presentation and all the impressions. I will to the audience. Is there any question from the audience? Maybe a question. How do the new master degrees and MBAs programs integrate digital first learning strategies to enhance student engagement and success in a fully digital environment, would you say?
I mean, yeah, of course, we are digital first as we in everything that we do. So we don't have any non-digital part. So we don't have printed material. We don't have anything like that. So basically, we are just working with a digital environment in which we are offering our course. And as I said, a couple of them are sort of MOOC-ish or based on the idea of MOOC, so with pre-recorded videos and that stuff. But all of them are enhanced. But even these enhancements are always in a digital way. So it's not that we meet in person in the building. I mean, we'd love to do that, but we are basically addressing an international audience. So and we have with the already admitted students that we have, they are coming from many different places in the world. So from Africa, from South America. I don't know exactly where the numbers yet at the moment. But I've seen a couple of the applications coming really from very different places all over the world, and that wouldn't be possible in a non-digital way, because we need those. We need basically the online environment to do that and to enable that, because otherwise, yeah. I mean, of course, if you if you think about the classic distance teaching universities, they manage to do that somehow as well by sending out letters and books and whatever. But we want to do that in a different way, and we hope it's a better way than having that paperwork sent around by mail.
Mm-hmm. And how does the German UDS ensure that these programs remain valuable and recognized in the global job market?
I mean, we have a set of professors which were appointed by the state. So this is a process that is really identical to any other university that we have here. I mean, we are a private university, so the professors are not civil servants, but they're privately employed, but still they have to meet the same quality requirements as any professor in any state operated university. We have the same we have quality assurance procedures. So we basically do peer reviews of our lectures, which is something that that at least in my experience doesn't happen a lot at classic universities, where everybody's keeping their lectures for themselves and doesn't share it too often with their colleagues. So our courses within the faculty are always open and accessible. And if a colleague asks me, how did you do that? How can I do that? How can I have a look in your course? Of course, we say you can do that. And we have monthly meetings among the professors. We of course evaluate the feedback of the students. I mean, that is the even more important than the quality of the professors. So it has to meet the target groups. Yeah, that's that. And of course, we basically have to follow also these government guidelines. So, and we have run through an accreditation process and the state approval process, and it's not a simple one. I can tell you we're working on that since about 2 years, and we're really happy that we finally have that that certificate in our hands.
Yeah, I can imagine that this was a road. Okay, so if there are no further questions from the audience, I would now open up the space for the unstructured networking time. Please meet all the presenters in the carpet area. Carpet E is for Marco Morales and the Open edX mobile updates, and carpet D is the German UDS and Thomas Staubitz, and also abstract technology will also be present on this carpet. Thanks everybody for joining.